think Diane is done with her letting go series. Yesterday, she posted what seems like the final video, and I'm going to ask you to stick around to the end. If you don't want to, if you get 3 minutes in and you go, I don't really want to watch this one, skip to the last minute. I'm so adamant in believing that people are going to tell you who they are if you let them talk long enough. It's happened with everyone we've watched, whether that's been on YouTube or on Twitch. Every one of these people will eventually start spouting off nonsense because it's who they are. And if you let them talk long enough, they'll get to it. She makes another 20+ minute video on general advice, which you should not be getting from her. And at the end, she comes all the way back to, you did your best. You were a great parent. You were someone this person is lucky to have, whatever she feels the need to say that day. I think she truly believes she is not at fault. And that's the problem. She's treating this estrangement like it's 100% not on her and not on the people watching her videos, when the opposite is true. The people watching Diane's videos looking for a reason not to blame themselves already don't blame themselves. There are people who call their children immature or useless or leeches or write them out of their will. So many comments are like, be smart and write them out of your will. When these kids are people who are like, I want no contact with you at all. I don't want money from you. I don't want any sort of anything from you. You should leave them alone. And if they want to come back to you, they will. And if you were a good parent, they probably wouldn't have left in the first place. Is there a small margin of error there? Maybe. Maybe. But it's tiny and it does not apply to Diane. It does not apply to Diane's audience. She looks evil, right? Like, I'm not tripping. She looks evil.
So in this video series, we've dealt with the initial shocks and the aftershocks of parental estrangement.
Gosh, she's clipping.
We've ridden and learned to manage the roller coaster of emotions that comes with it. We've spent time in deep reflection examining this from all sides.
She has presented this series of videos as an online class. She goes, this is what you need to do. Go do it. This is your homework. And then goes, now that you know how to do this, people are not going to learn anything from being, also I'm holding my chapstick, I don't know why. People are not going to learn anything from being given a set of instructions without really being told how to use what it is that they're supposed to be putting together. She goes, let go. Your homework is to practice letting go for 2 hours. Now that you know how to let go, who is that helping, Diane?
We have faced and accepted the reality of what is. So now we get into the fun stuff. Letting go and living your best life with love.
For yourself?
Cry, forgive, learn, move on.
Good advice. The problem is she means for herself. She means cry, saying like your sadness happens. Forgive yourself, not your daughter. Although, really, why would you, right? Like, you shouldn't have a reason to forgive your kid. Your kid should be forgiving you. Let go, move on.
Let your tears water the seeds of happiness. One way to help you let go when it's time is to perform a ritual of release.
Which essentially is going to turn into her saying, perform a funeral for your now deceased estranged kid because they're dead to you. And that's all they are, which is a weird way to live your life. I don't care. I don't care how long it's been. I really don't. I cannot imagine being the parent who's like, yeah, my kid's dead. To me. And it's only been 3 years for her.
For example, you can perform a sort of living funeral like my husband did, as I explained in a few videos back. Or you can write a final letter to your child, surrendering to what is, do a release meditation.
In writing that letter, you have to realize that they're not going to do what she said a step earlier. In writing that letter, a final letter to your child and being like, hey, letting it go, they're not going to be able to forgive anything. Imagine getting a letter from your parent, from your estranged parent, who you made very clear that you could not talk to them. 3 years later, you get a letter and it goes, Dear daughter, I have forgiven myself for the pain that you caused me, and I'm now letting you go. I know, LOL, you said not to contact you, but I had to have the final say. And in this final say, I want to remind you that this was your fault, that as a child, you should have done better. that as a parent, you should have appreciated what it is that I did for you. I brought you into this world. I fed you. I clothed you. And that is more than enough. And probably more than anyone else has ever done for their kids. The people on the internet are saying, I'm the best mom. That they wish they had a mom like me. They've never seen a mom like I do. And you are just wrong.
Then bless, burn the letter, and perhaps put the ashes around the roots of a beloved plant. So I'm going to take you through a short release meditation, and this is just to give you an idea of the kind of thing that you can do to facilitate your own letting go. So close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose.
If you're watching live or you're watching on YouTube, this is your time to do this with me and Diane. We're going to learn to let our kids go. We didn't need to be their parents then, and we don't need to be their parents now.
So close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose, letting your chest and belly expand. Exhale slowly through your mouth, allowing your body to relax. Focus on your breath. Notice the natural rhythm.
Now, there's nothing wrong with meditation. You should, if meditation is going to help you, absolutely. And if you need a way to relax or a way to like learn how to deal with your own emotions, meditate half an hour a day, every day for 3 weeks. If it doesn't work after that, okay, figure out something else. But it's going to be really good for you. That being said, this is not a novel concept. You don't need Diane to guide you through meditation. You'll get a lot more out of an AI video on YouTube trying to hypnotize you than you will out of listening to Diane talk about anything.
With each breath, draw in peace. And in your hands, you hold a small boat, representing your relationship with your estranged child.
There's nothing wrong with this. Again, something Diane has been doing for the last 5-6 videos is bringing up things that she didn't think of and presenting them. Diane should not be leading you through this. Diane should not be the person teaching people how to let go. Imagine taking like a calculus class from someone who never did math, from someone who stopped math after high school and they're like a history major. They have a PhD in American history post 1642, trying to teach calc, have no idea what they're saying, but they're just reading from a textbook. They're right because they're reading from a textbook, but they're not the people that should be doing that. And this is what it feels like. Diane doesn't have this experience. Diane did not do any of this type of therapy. Diane messed up and decided not to acknowledge it and instead make videos on it to try and probably just make money from it. Everybody close your eyes. We're doing this together. Breathe in. Breathe out. Slide to the left. Now all the white people are dancing. You people are funny. Got you. Crisscross. Everybody clap your hands. All right, sit down, sit down. Okay, it's 4 minutes of meditation. Was I supposed to be breathing this whole time?
Inhale.
I follow instructions too specifically. If I was listening to Diane talk this entire time, I would have not breathed back in. I don't think I was told to.
Gently wiggle your toes and fingers.
I don't want to see that.
And when you're ready, open
Whose feet
your
are
eyes.
those?
Carry this sense of peace with you throughout the day.
There was so much happening here. One, again, nothing wrong with meditation. If it's going to help you, you should try it. Do not do guided meditation through Diane. I would rather you do it through an AI on YouTube. Second, what was the feed about? Didn't like that, needed a little bit of a warning, but I got jump scared by toesies.
Knowing that you have taken a powerful step towards your own healing and moving forward.
A lot of what I say to Diane, and I guess to her audience, is a lot of, it sounds like I'm attacking people, and on a very small scale, I am. If what you need to do is learn to let go, that's not the issue. The issue is specifically taking advice from someone like Diane, who is not the person you should be listening to. It's not. It's really, really, really not. It's like getting advice on how to live life from Dr. Kevorkian. Probably not his specialty. Diane is a really good example of who you shouldn't be, and that is all Diane should be. You can find everything she has said somewhere else and from people who are licensed, smarter, and willing to accept their faults. Diane is just a really good example of who you shouldn't be. And that's all. That's all she should be used as.
This is just a sample release that may or may not work for you, but I absolutely recommend digging into your own creativity and your faith to come up with a release exercise that works for you. Now, I understand that this is a pretty heavy way to start a video, so I'd like to introduce you to the 60-second mood shift.
I don't know what this is going to be. The way it's worded already annoys me. 60-second mood shift.
Now, this is something I have seen Tony Robbins and other motivational speakers use. It is a philosophy of change your body, change your life. So the first step is to smile. Just smile. Smile if you even don't feel like it. Smile if you're as depressed as all heck. Smile if you're still feeling the heaviness of releasing your child. Smile anyway. Smiling is the first step in turning lemons into lemonade. I have smiled my way through many horrible situations, and it is the first tiny step toward healing. Another tool for using physicality to change your mood is, of course, getting up, getting out, doing some exercise. We've talked about that one before, but there are some other ones you can do right here, sitting in your seat. And
again, I don't care how good or appropriate the advice is. Diane is not the person you should be taking advice from. And we see this when she goes, go outside. And then when she did, she recorded every single time she did. And she recorded herself car camping, pretending to be unhoused, complaining about her daughter, complaining about her other daughter, all outside, all camping, all like, hey, this is time for you to go focus on who you are and who you want to be, not to continue being a hater. A hater towards your own children too.
One of them is the gratitude rampage. So this might look silly on camera, and it may feel silly to you if you're doing it alone at home, but just give it a try and see if it doesn't, even just the most slight bit, improve your mood. So basically what you're doing is you are shouting out what you're grateful for. Let me demonstrate. I am grateful for this camera. I am grateful for this room. I am grateful for this window with the sunlight. I'm grateful for the mountain outside. I'm grateful for the lake. I'm grateful for my husband who loves me. I'm grateful for my daughter and all the good times we shared. I'm grateful for my kitchen. I'm grateful for shelter. I'm grateful for electricity. I'm grateful for running water. I'm grateful for family. I'm grateful for friends. I'm grateful for this light right here. I'm grateful that I have a voice.
Something that she does a good job of is settling herself down into what she has so that she does not give anyone else the space to ask for more. When you get into this idea of like what it is you're grateful for, you sometimes stop yourself from asking for more from the world and from yourself. I can sit here all day and be like, I'm so thankful that I have a bed and my dog and my room and these lights, and I am. I'm in a pretty good place. That doesn't stop me from working or trying to figure out who it is I want to be or wanting to spend time with my partner or all these things that I want that are extra. It gives her an excuse to be like, I have so much, I don't need my daughter. And again, like there's so much here that could be taken so well if she was just like the right person to give this information out. But she's not. She's not. You're listening to the wrong person say the right thing sometimes, and that makes it the wrong thing. The issue, I think, with her expressing wanting more is that she knows that she's not going to work towards it. So she can't be like, I want a relationship with my daughter, because there's no way for her to get it. There probably was a decade of, hey mom, you're hurting me. Hey mom, this is an idea I have. Hey mom, this is what I want. And then Diane being like, nope, you are simply an extension of me. You are not your own person, which is something we've seen from now, both her and the breakdancing dad. is that they treat their children like parts of them rather than their own people. There should be a Venn diagram there, and it should be both ways where you are each other's family, but they are allowed to be their own people. And that is when these parents get like problematic, where they're like, oh no, don't have your own ideas, especially if they're different than mine.
I'm grateful that I can hear and see and feel and touch. I am grateful for all the kind human beings that have ever said something nice to me.
Why are you yelling?
I am grateful for everyone. I am grateful to be here, and so on and so forth. Going through kind of a loud gratitude rampage with a smile on your face can really change your mood. And that's the thing.
Ignoring criticism and pretending like everything is great is a really good way to just pretend things are great.
You need to realize we have the power within to change our mood. Now, another one that has really helped me is affirmations. So I'm going to take you through a series of affirmations. You can make.
How would you, as a parent who has done a bad job of raising their kids, affirm yourself? Would it have something to do with the kids? Would you be like, oh, they're bad people, so it's not my fault? Or would you be like, I did the best I could?
Make up your own affirmations. This is just an example. But I want you to take a deep breath and repeat after me. I give myself permission to let go. I
hate the way she says things like she just made a revelation. Like, this has all been said so many times by so many people. It's like if I was like, you can't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, and then looked really smugly into the camera and was like, aren't I so smart? I'm so smart. I saw that quote on Facebook one day when I was 14. I'm so smart. Yeah, she's the definition of not letting go. Like, these videos stem from her inability to let go.
I give myself permission to live life. I give myself permission to have fun.
Okay.
I give myself permission to laugh.
Please don't do it. I thought she was going to laugh. I thought she was going to give me like an evil laugh. I was ready for it.
I give myself permission to play. I give myself permission to be silly.
Dude, this hurts. Like, this legit just hurts. This can't be real. This cannot be real. You cannot. Right?
I give myself permission to be confident.
You are.
I give myself permission to be authentic.
You are not. Then
I give myself permission to express myself.
that's exactly what you're doing, right? Yeah. Keep going.
I give myself permission to be me.
If who you are is a bad person, is that really who you want to be?
So hopefully these tools can move you away from that lingering heaviness of letting go into a frame of mind where you're ready to turn away from that river and that boat that's long drifted away and back toward the woodland trail of your own life. Okay, now it's time for the fun stuff.
Most of these parents are people who didn't stop living their lives just because their children became estranged. Like, oh, you had to stop doing that 3 hours a day where you just sit and you criticize your kid for nothing. What are you going to do with all that free time? They're just sitting there watching Family Feud, and it's Steve Harvey going, we asked 100 Americans. Is that how they say that? We asked 100 people. We asked 100 people, what do you do with your 3 hours of free time now that you can't just criticize your children? Make YouTube videos. Make YouTube videos pretending you're the good guy. And it's number one for some reason, because again, we only interviewed Diane. I think I cut that whole bit out of a video, which means I'm probably cutting this too.
Exploring personal values, interests, and aspirations. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself.
Again, this is a quote. That's just a Tumblr quote. She's so proud to relay. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. You're a Lego masterpiece, and now you got to learn to Lego. Get it? Because it sounds like Lego. Haha. I'm Diane, and I'm so smart. Join my group chat for $20 a month.
Right. Now, there are several elements to this next phase of the healing process. Number one, you want to identify your core values. So as you're thinking about the new life that you're going to build,
that's just part of being a person. Understanding what values you have. No, but it's seriously like this is just part of being a person. This has nothing to do with being an estranged parent. You could apply this advice to anything. Oh, you just finished school, you don't know who you are. Oh, you just got out of a marriage, you don't know who you are. Oh, you just lost a partner, you don't know who you are. Oh, this is very general. And again, nothing wrong with the advice. You should be finding it from someone who is not a problem. Diane is a problem. It's poisoned.
Going forward, think about and identify your core personal values. What's important to you? This alignment is essential for moving forward with integrity and purpose. So just take some time to think about those things, those values, those messages, those life learnings that maybe you want to pass along. What is most important to you?
I probably wouldn't consider those life learnings you want to pass along in there because nobody really needs your advice. That's just like a general rule. You should hold your advice for people who ask for it. Everyone wants to write a memoir, but we're not that important. We're just all random people.
Next, you want to think about rediscovering old and new interests.
Oh, your daughter left you. Remember when you were a kid and you loved Pokemon? Buy every Pokemon plushie you can. That's good advice. However, I think she would have been like 40 in the 90s, so maybe does not apply to her. My biggest takeaway from this is someone who adamantly is against therapy, is giving advice that a therapist would give. Yeah. Yes. However, she does not in fact follow her advice. That is exactly what it is, and why you should just not trust what she has to say. There's less to criticize now because she's not being specific at all. She's not applying it to her life or to what she's done. She's just giving random advice. And what am I going to do? Say, no, you shouldn't rediscover interest. No, you should. You should not take advice from Diane. You should take advice from a therapist, someone who has your best interest at heart, someone who cares about you, someone who doesn't just want $20 out of you to join their group chat.
You want to take some time to explore both your old passions that maybe you've neglected since becoming a parent. You know, we have kids and the kids take over your life and you forget about your hobbies and loves and passions. And now is the time to really kind of dig back into your memory and rekindle some of those. What interests you? What excites you? Dive into what brings you joy. This is a powerful way to engage with the world around you. Next, you
should learn to live life. You should, because it's a hard thing to do. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of staying in, and it's who I am. I don't leave this house ever. The only times I go outside is when I'm with Lee and she wants food. That's it. You should learn to live life. You should figure out what it is that you like to do and who you like to do it with. If you need a catastrophic moment in your life for it to happen, I'm sorry. That sucks. That has to feel bad. I hope that it's not your daughter or your son or your child, whoever they may be, estranging from you. I hope it's not a breakup. I hope one day you just say, I want to go outside, and you do. If you are on the side of Diane here and you really just want to listen to what she has to say, please find it somewhere else online. There are plenty of good people with good advice, and there are plenty of bad people with good advice. And who she is not someone you should listen to regardless of what it is she has to say. It is poisoned. It is poisoned. It is poisoned. It is poisoned. I believe fully, and I said this earlier in the Breakdancing Dad part of the stream. I believe fully that if you let people talk, they will eventually tell you who they are. Something that she's not done in these last 4 or 5 videos is speak of her own situation at all. She's speaking very broadly to garner an audience. And if you just let her talk forever, she would eventually get to the things that she's gotten to before. She speaks ill of her daughters now. She talks bad about therapy. She talks about being woke. She talks about how you should take your kids out of school, how college is indoctrinating kids and only hiring non-white people so they're underqualified, things like that. That's who she is. And that is not someone you should take any advice from at all.
Want to really look at designing and inspiring new life. This is where you let your imagination run wild. Envision a lifestyle that includes personal growth, what you want to do for work, how you want to relax, what kinds of social interactions do you want to have going forward. Create a vision board, and it can be electronic or physical or a scrapbook to reinforce this new vision for what you want to do.
I imagine that 50 years ago, she would have left her family and started a new one.
I have a friend that has a dreams scrapbook, and she has been adding to this her whole life. And this book has helped her through this estrangement, and it helps her keep an eye on the path forward where she really wants to go. It is.
You have other friends who are estranged? I don't think she's ever brought that up before. And if she has, I don't remember. Are you guys just like feeding each other bad advice? Because like you're gonna sit yourself in an echo chamber when you're wrong. You just are. Like you want to be told you're right by other people, even if they're also wrong. And so it makes sense for me that she has friends who are in a similar situation. But that's just gross because now they're gonna sit here and be like, oh, our kids, our dumb kids, those stupid liberals. Instead of taking any sort of accountability or being able to look at their situation more objectively and be like, oh, maybe it was my fault.
It's an excellent tool and it's portable. You can carry it around and open it whenever you need to. You also, in this phase, you want to embrace community and connection. And through the healing process, you may have done this, you may not.
I'm surprised she doesn't peddle her group chat more. Like it's in the description always, but she stopped being like, oh, you need community, come join us.
But at the time you're coming out of the darkness and into the light, you really do want to look to other people and you want to seek out communities that share your interests and values. And I'm not talking about just online. I'm also talking about communities in the real world, because real world interactions, they do trump online interactions. Yes, online interactions have value, and maybe you found them here in the comment section or other Facebook groups that you belong to, but the real world interactions are the most valuable, so definitely nurture those as well. You want to build connections with like-minded individuals that...
Except when you're wrong, which is the situation she's in, you have to stop. You should build connections with people who you think are good people, and you should become good enough friends to hold each other accountable. If then something happens in your life that you don't really know whether or not you're right about, that person should be able to say you're right or you're wrong, here's why. You should be friends with good people. You should not seek out people who are in a similar situation as you when you are being told by the internet that you are the problem. You just shouldn't, because you're going to find other people who are the problem, and you're going to convince each other that you're not the issue, when you very much are.
That can provide support and encouragement and positivity through this new phase of your life. You know, this is your time to shine and have fun and enjoy all that life has to offer.
Move to Florida. Abandon your family. Learn to break dance. Take a salsa class. Salsa? My salsa. Learn every word to every D12 song ever.
So the next part of this is you want to set goals for the future and embrace new possibilities. Every day is a...
It'd be wild if she like showed an example of herself doing this and she's like, set a goal for the future. And at the top, it's like, start a new family, have new kids that like me, who aren't leeches.
New beginning, a new adventure. So the first step in this part of it is to set goals that are aligned with your aspirations. Once you have a clear understanding of your values and your interests, just set a short-term goal and make it easy. Just do something easy that you can achieve so that you have a small win to celebrate. And then once you've done a few short-term goals, then maybe list some longer-term goals that you'd like to achieve that reflect your gradually increasing aspirations. And it's okay to go a little wild. You don't have to achieve every goal you put on your list. Just put it there. You can assess whether or not you really want to do it.
I could sum up this entire video and just say, hey, listen, not all of this advice is bad, but it's from a bad person and you should worry about who it is telling you how to live your life. You could find this advice anywhere, literally anywhere. There's not anything she said that's been special or specific, none of it. You can find this advice anywhere. Go find it somewhere that isn't from Diane. Diane is a bad person with bad ideas who is going to push you into trusting her until she can once again peddle her group chat and bad ideas at you. Don't do that. Don't let her do that. Go find the same advice from someone who is not going to hurt you.
Later. Then you want to focus on personal growth and development as part of this process. So as you're setting these goals, prioritize growth and self-improvement, discovering your joy. You just want to do your best and be your best with what you have to work with. That's all we can do, and that's
and what you have to work with is your life minus your kids. Again, like I've said this so many times now, and especially over the last 3 videos, I don't have a lot of problems with what she's saying because it's so inspecific and general and done. It's been done. It's been said. But I have a problem with who's saying it. You shouldn't take advice on being a good parent from a bad parent. You shouldn't take advice on letting go from someone who has not let go. And it's evident by like this consistency of making videos about a situation where you were very evidently wrong. She could stop posting here. She has 2 other YouTube channels, at least, that she could post to about other things. She could stop posting here.
okay. These types of goals can be particularly fulfilling, and short and long-term goals, they can help you build confidence over time. And after what we've gone through, rebuilding confidence is key. The next part of this is you want to be sure and lend a helping hand to others. This is so important on the healing journey. You want to plan for at least some activity or volunteer work that serves others for no other purpose than to simply help another human being. You will feel...
Do you think that people like this can volunteer in a way that isn't necessarily altruistic, but in a way that doesn't make it about themselves? I don't know that I can imagine Diane going anywhere to volunteer for people without posting it somewhere or talking about it. And there's a line there. You should definitely be able to say things like that. Like, oh, I do these things and I do it for others. But Diane doesn't strike me as someone who can do things just for the sake of helping someone else. It is entirely different. And again, I'm just repeating myself, but she's doing the same thing. I don't have anything new to work with. It is entirely different to say, I messed up. Here's a situation that I was in and I did it wrong. So I'm making videos on telling you guys how to do it right, or how to just not do it the way I did. But that's not what she's doing. She's going, in this situation, you should do this. Not at all presenting that. She did the opposite. She has the experience of being wrong, and so she doesn't want you to do the same thing. Instead, she's going, I'm so smart. Here's information I have for you people who may not be able to figure this out on your own, like I did. But that's not who you are. Diane is not smart enough to put any of this together herself. She failed at being a parent. She failed at being an estranged parent online. And now she's just moving on to the next thing. And it's being a guru on how to let go after being a failed parent, but not a failed parent, a parent who tried their best. And your children just don't appreciate that. That's not who you are. You are a failed parent, and that's okay. Things happen. Like, I cannot imagine being right in most of the situations I'd end up being in if I had kids. But you're not a victim. You're not helping anyone with this. You're going to make things worse for people. You're going to make things worse for people who do not need more problems.
So much better about yourself, and you will feel good making these valuable contributions to society simply by lending a helping hand. A kind word can go so much farther than you will ever realize. And as you're going through this process, you want to embrace change with optimism. So view each new possibility not as a replacement for what was lost, but as an opportunity to grow and enrich your life in new and different ways. It's another reframing. Regularly evaluate and adjust your goals as you're on this path. Make it a habit to periodically review and adjust these goals, short and long, to ensure that they remain aligned with your values, your interests, and the realities of your life.
How many of these estranged parents, when listing out their values, do you think listed out something like being a good parent or being a good person or taking care of those around you? There is a lot of accountability lost in working through a self-help book. Can you be honest with yourself in this situation? Because you're not going to be held to the standard of being so. If you lie within this, which is just an online self-help book, no one's going to call you out. If you in the comments go down and say, I tried my best, I was a good parent, Diane's going to heart it. But we don't know. Like, those people could have been the worst parents and will just refuse to talk about it. How much you're going to get from being given the freedom to tell the world who you are without any sort of checking of yourself. And that's where like having good friends comes in, because a good friend will check you on a lot of these things. You shouldn't surround yourself with people who only think like you. And that doesn't extend to problems. Like, you can't be someone who's like adamantly against homophobia and then have homophobic friends. That's not how that works. That's not an idea. That's a problem. You should have friends with different parenting styles. You should have friends who have like different opinions on food. You should have friends who like to travel, who don't. Just random things, not issues. And so to surround yourself with people who are also estranged parents, who are also probably the reason for the estrangement, really, I promise you, doesn't help anyone.
This flexibility is key to maintaining relevance and enthusiasm for your future plans. Celebrating progress and acknowledging personal growth, success is a series of small victories. On your path to this new life, it's important to recognize every achievement. Celebrating even minor achievements can boost your morale, reinforce your commitment to your goals, and maintain momentum on your journey of personal growth. Every small win is important. Every small win is just so critical to celebrate. Do not let your shiz talker deprive you of your small victories. Celebrate them. Keep a progress journal. I know I've mentioned journaling several times throughout.
Some of them have been super problematic. Do you guys remember the time she was like, make a bar chart of every loss you've ever had and explain to yourself how much it hurt? It was like dead dad, dead animal, daughter leaving, loss of relationship when you were in high school. Wild.
This series, and I know it's not everybody's thing. It can be written, it can be recorded, it can be drawn out in pictures, but keeping a progress journal, even if it's just a few quick little notes, can remind you of how far you've come, because it's easy to forget that low place we started. For example, my original video that started this channel, and where we are now, this video that I'm making here.
So the low place she started was being in a place where all she could do was blame her daughter for their estrangement. And now she's ignoring it to give people advice she didn't do and won't take. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
So you absolutely need some kind of reminder, and you need to allow yourself the space to celebrate how far you've come. And even if it's not that far yet, even if you've only gone from stage 1 to stage 2, you still must celebrate. I actually recommend setting milestones for celebration. So planning for these little wins can...
I feel like these milestones are going to be gross. Like, it's going to be on her daughter's birthday. Didn't text her happy birthday, which is a milestone she brought up in the video. She was like, after 3 years, I finally didn't text her happy birthday. Again, this sounds... If you didn't have any context for who she was, and this is the first video you saw, and it's just me sitting here criticizing her advice, it sounds bad. It does. It absolutely does. It does. Because she just looks like a woman trying to therapize people. But she's a person who did a lot of terrible things to her daughter and then is now ignoring those things for views. you should find good advice from good people or people actually trying to help others. You should not find it from people who did bad things and refuse to take accountability for them, which is who Diane is. Diane is a bad person taking down and spewing out okay advice she heard and read somewhere else. Great. We can all do that. We've said it before. Bad people, dumb people are more than capable of repeating good advice. It happens. You should be careful of who it is that you listen to. And Diane is not someone you should be listening to. I am not going to sit here and tell you who to be in this situation. I'm not going to tell you what advice to take. I'm not going to give you advice. That's stupid. I am going to tell you to go to therapy. Go to someone who knows what they're talking about. Don't be Diane. Don't be the breakdancing dad. Both of them who at some point, both of them have gone, oh, don't go to therapy. It's a stupid complex. They're incentivized to keep you here for money. No, they're not. Not how therapy works. They get you out, they get someone else. No good therapist is short of clients. That would be stupid. Figure that out. Figure out who you want to be and go get a therapist's help to become that person, not Diane's. And if you can afford it or you don't want to spend time doing that, that's fine. You can find good advice on the internet. There are plenty of therapists and psychiatrists and doctors and mental health professionals on YouTube giving out free advice. Diane is not any of those people. Diane wants attention, and Diane wants control, and Diane wants power. And she's going to do that by telling you who it is that you should be when not being that person.
And provide extra motivation and a sense of reward that fuels further effort and dedication. So treat yourself. Go to a fancy dinner out. Take a half day and go for a walk in the woods. Treat yourself to some little thing at Marshall's or whatever. Just plan for these little celebratory milestones so that when you get through X, you
treat yourself. When it's been a full year since you texted your daughter, have a new kid.
You get a little treat and it'll help motivate you to get to Y and then Z and then bam, the final celebration. Well, there's probably not a final celebration because this is a process. Healing is a process. Never forget that. I know I've laid out this series in 6 stages. They are recurring and you will keep cycling through them until at some point you're really not thinking about it anymore because you're too busy living your best life. Another important thing to do in this phase is to share your successes. So sharing can not only
share your successes in her $20 group chat.
Provide additional validation, but also inspire and encourage others. So share your little wins with your spouse or with a friend or with your children who still talk to you or your minister or your pastor or on your favorite Facebook group. Share your wins. You can share your wins down here in the comments section. I will do my best to keep the trolls at bay, but share your wins. Other parents need to see it. They need to hear about it.
I will do my best to make sure that you are not held to any sort of standard. I don't care who it is you are. I don't think anyone watches this. Like, this would be such a waste of time to watch as someone who just wants to troll her. Like, she's not worth the attention. Criticism and trolling are two entirely different things. I would like to criticize her for her actions and who she is. But watching, I don't get any sense of like satisfaction from watching this or even talking about her. It just bothers me. Like, that's all it is. Like, this is something that bothers me, and so I talk about it.
They need to know that yes, they can heal from this tragedy, that yes, they can move forward, and that yes, they can start living the life of their dreams. You also want to, along the way, and I've mentioned this before, but I'm saying it again because it really is important, you want to reflect on your journey. Recognizing your growth can boost your confidence and fuel your commitment to future goals.
Again, saying it for like the 8th time in this video, the advice isn't inherently bad. It's the person saying it. This advice is pretty generic. You can find it anywhere else. Please find it anywhere else. Please find it anywhere else. Please find it anywhere else.
You're creating a habit of cheering yourself on versus ripping yourself down, and that is a continuing process on the healing path. A word about reconciliation. Peace cannot be achieved by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. I don't focus on reconciliation because in my no contact situation, it's not up to me. I have zero control.
I wish you would have figured that out 4 years ago. I wish you would have figured out 4 years ago that your daughter was a whole person and that her boundaries should have been respected instead of you forcing your way into her life, out of her life, and then being like, okay, out of my control.
And I accept that. But as we nurture peace in our hearts, we do put ourselves in a better place should our children ever change their minds. So here are some thoughts around that. Letting go with love rather than bitterness or anger can create an emotional space that allows both you and your estranged child to heal. By letting go with love, you communicate that your love is unconditional. It is not dependent on the status of the relationship.
The problem with that, specifically coming from Diane, the problem with her being like having unconditional love for your kids is that the problem is if you loved your children, you would protect them in the ways that you can. A way that you can protect your daughter in her situation is by not being this anti-therapy, anti-college, pro-Trump person. And it's a choice. You're an adult. It's a choice. So your love is conditional. It just is, because you're trying to accept them into this life that doesn't accept them. And so you're saying, I'm here if you want me. I'm here whenever you need me, but you're not. You're harmful.
Removing pressure from both parties by not forcing reconciliation allows your child to come to terms with their feelings at their own pace. Handling the situation with grace and understanding can set a positive example of how to manage difficult emotions and conflicts. Even if immediate reconciliation isn't possible, letting go with love ensures that the memories and the feelings associated with the estrangement aren't entirely negative. With this video series, I hope that you understand how to release the pain of estrangement, how to move forward in your new life, rekindle long-lost passions and discover new ones, and that you now understand how to go from heartbreak to healing so that you can find the joy, the love, the peace in your life again, knowing that it's possible for you and you deserve it. And that's maybe the most important point of all. You deserve it. You had your child. You raised your child with love. You did your best with what
you didn't. This is, again, like you let people talk long enough, they're going to tell you who they are. And if she had cut it 4 seconds ago, whatever. But no, she's coming back. She's coming back to, I did the best that I could. I did a great job. None of it's my fault.
At your child, you raised your child with love.
You fed it.
You did your best with what you knew how to do. Your child has chosen their path. It's okay. Let go.
It is so much harder for your kid to not only decide that they have to become estranged from you, but to go through with it and to stay that way than it is for you to just sit there and be like, not my fault.
It's your time now to shine. Live your best life. You deserve it. After all the love and all the pouring into this child, live your life in peace and joy and power, knowing that you have done a wonderful thing.
No matter how much of it was your fault, know that it wasn't your fault. Move on, is what this ends up being.
And now is your time to shine. So, I have a final homework assignment if you're still serious about healing, and that is create a vision board or a scrapbook, either electronically or physically, and start visualizing your dreams. Start putting down your dreams for your new life. Go crazy, have fun, be a kid again. And if you want to go deeper on your path to healing,
be a kid again from someone who has a child's understanding of their emotions and who they are and how to treat other people is so stupid.
I invite you to join my email list where we explore these topics further.
Actually, no, at least kids know to treat other people the way you want to be treated.
I invite you to join my email list where we explore these topics further.